Hello, welcome to Tom's Hardware, the podcast for October the 10th, 2023, episode 149, if memory serves. If I can count that high, I don't know. I've only got this many things to count with. So, hi, my name's Les Bounder, I'm Associate Editor at Tom's Hardware. With me, as always, is Ash Hill, resident Raspberry Pi expert, and tonight's special guest, and it is a special guest indeed. This man has created a nugget positioning system. It's Mr. Martin Parker. Martin, how are you, sir?
I'm not too bad, thank you.
Lovely. We want to know, first of all, why?
Why? Why not, Les? Why not?
Exactly.
Well, Kevin did a really good McDoom. So I don't know. To be fair, I just thought, well, I had a GPS module lying around. I did have plans to. I hate cutting my grass, so I was thinking about doing something like, like modifying a lawnmower or just something, just so I can cut the grass without me doing it. But they have they're restricted, so they're not pinpoint.
Yeah.
But then I thought, I've got a camera system on my house, so why don't I use the camera footage and map out my grass and have it like as a are we there yet sort of thing. So basically the lawnmower just asks the camera system, am I there yet sort of thing. Just one of my other strange ideas that I'll probably do, no doubt. But the nugget, I don't know. I just thought it'd be a good idea, something different, because you don't really see them.
No, it's true. I mean these nuggets is it China or Japan they were released in?
Yeah.
And there was like is it a pack-in toy with a meal you got from McDonald's, and it's just amazing. You get a full game of Tetris in a plastic nugget. But makers, Kev's in the chat. We can see Kev. Hi, Kev.
Hi, Kev.
And yeah, he's made McDoom with it, which is mad. but then you've gone, okay, let's go away from Doom. Everyone does Doom. I want to turn a nugget into a GPS system to locate the nearest McDonald's. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you've got a GPS module in there. What Pi is actually powering it?
So inside, I've dismantled it, but I've got a Raspberry Pi 0W2.
Yeah.
A LiPo battery. I've got a screen. I'll try to get into the right shot. So that's a 2.4-inch LCD screen. There's my GPS module. So it's blinking away, saying it's picking up satellite signals now.
Nice. Cool.
Underneath the Pi, I've got a layer of plastic. And underneath that plastic, which is held up by standoffs, so it holds the Pi Zero in place. But underneath that plastic is a charging circuit for charging the battery.
Yeah.
So you can access that via the back, just there. And there's my power switch that's been giving me a few problems.
But yeah,
that's just a bit of an old piece of equipment that I just robbed because I needed something really small to fit in there.
That's nice. So the kit that's inside there, it's not Raspberry Pi specific. Looking at it, it looks like it's like generic Arduino and standard SBC stuff you can get from AliExpress, that sort of thing.
Yeah, the screen I got off of Amazon, and the GPS module. If you remember, just over, not this year, last year when we met at Liverpool Makerfest.
Yeah, I remember.
You said to bring some money, and I went to ABX. Is it ABX Labs?
Yeah, Dave, yes. ABX Labs, yeah.
I got a multi-pack kit and it had a GPS module in there. So I've had it just sat around for a while, waiting for something to happen.
It's awesome. But for anyone not in the know, Liverpool Makefest, which we had the organised on the show, Dan and Caroline, they have a digital sweet shop there, basically. But you go and get your electronics from this guy called ABX Labs, and it's dirt cheap electronics, and it works on everything. And everyone goes there and takes their pocket money, and clearly Martin's been there as well to spend his pocket money. But it's good to see
it's
what
a
you can
good hole
do
to toss your money into.
Yeah, It's good what you can spend your money on, and it's cheap as well. I mean, those components won't be as expensive as branded components from the big players, but they'll still work just as well.
Yeah, they're all right, pretty good.
That's great.
Good quality.
So the screen you've got, how's that connected to the Pi?
That's via SPI.
Oh, nice.
The GPS is connected via serial. It's and I've got the PCB board at the bottom.
Yeah,
that one there, which I've obviously hacked it down a bit, chopped it down. There is touchpads adjacent to the buttons. So what I did was I drilled through the PCB, so I could bring the wire through and then just solder onto that pad, so it's pretty flattish.
Nice.
But because of the size of the battery being in there, it sticks up a bit. So the support for the PCB for the buttons, I had to modify that a bit. So I shaved down the buttons quite a bit, not too much, but just enough so it just works. So it works all right.
Brilliant. So that battery pack, is that a salvage component as well?
Yes, that's from an old laptop. The same laptop that you remember that 1970s camera that I had on Twitter, and it'd been not featured, but it was mentioned in the Magpie magazine.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the battery that's in there, that was from an old Toshiba laptop as well. I tend to reuse a lot of stuff, and I get told off for hoarding electronic bits.
I do it myself, don't worry. I've got component drawers full of stuff. It's what we do. We take things apart. We go and buy cheap stuff and take it apart. It's great fun.
Hopefully the wife is listening so that she'll be able to understand why I do these things then.
So we've got the hardware pinned down. Then we've got the Tetris Nugget case. We've got the screen. We've got the Pi. We've got the batteries. It's really about the software. How are you gluing it all together? What's the software gluing it all together?
So I'm doing it through Python.
Nice.
I wanted to just use Google Maps API, but I couldn't. I will open source. How do I? Oh God!
Yes, Kevin, and all the
chips. If
you
can ask me about the dips, sweet curry is my dip that I like. I like that one best.
Barbecue over here for me. Ash, what's your McDonald's dip of choice?
I went there yesterday. They had some new ones, and I tried one of their new sauces. They had one called Mambo, and the other one was called Sweet and Spicy Jam, and it's actually kind of fruity. Otherwise, sweet and sour.
Nice. I think we get a choice of 3 in the UK, don't we? Barbecue, tomato, and the curry one.
Yeah. You don't have sweet and sour sauce?
Oh, we do, yeah.
Do we?
What about honey mustard?
Wife gets that.
And
she
the
loves
buffalo?
The sweet and sour.
And the creamy ranch?
I don't think we get buffalo, no.
I clearly don't eat enough sauce at McDonald's, so I am wrong.
We take our sauces seriously in the South. It could also be a regional thing, because sometimes if you go to McDonald's up north, they don't have things that they have at McDonald's down south in the U.S., so...
There you go. So you've got Python gluing it all together. So this is just standard Python, MicroPython implant. So what modules and what libraries are you using for this sort of thing? Because you've got like a Google Maps screen to it, haven't you?
Yes, it is. It's not using. Well, I think it is actually. So the libraries I'm using is Google Maps API. Using that as I'm only using that for a request to find the nearest McDonald's. Yeah. If you look at the documentation, it just seems to be like you need to do it by as a web page or something to take it any further. So that's why I stopped there, and I looked at others, and I'm using Open Route Services, which is a mapping. There's an API for it, and it's really good. You give it the starting position, and it'll plot the route for you. So it gives you all the latitude, longitudes, and then you get that back as a list, and you can push that into the tick into map view that I'm using. That actually uses the Google Map overlay.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked with maps before with Python. This was years ago. In fact, when the Pi 3 came out, I did a treasure map hunter type thing, and I could not get it to work properly. The GPS with a Google Map, it just wouldn't work. So in the end, I had to use some third-party system to get it to work. But it's good to see that you can get it to work now, because I'm going to crib off your work here, mate, and understand what you've done and have a go myself.
Well, I hope the code's all right then. I will put it on my GitHub. There's only one thing that I've not completed is the actual main button. So when it comes up, I know it's showing a bit bright there. Yeah. So you can see there you've got 9 satellites. The time's wrong. Oliver spotted that yesterday. I never noticed, to be fair, because I just saw the time ticking away, and I thought, oh, the time's there, date's there. Because that's a window into Kinta that I've put there just as a starting point. And then if you press the button, just see if I can get it on screen. Sorry about it's a bit bright. And if I press the button, then it should give you my nearest McDonald's from my latitude and longitude position. I can zoom in and stuff, but just for you, Les.
Yeah.
There you go. That's to the nearest Greg's.
Excellent.
I did that just for you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yes. So that's the one I've not been to either. So I'll have to pop down to that one.
So yeah.
So I've not played with that.
Zoom in. Go on.
That API that you're using, I'm sorry, I've not used it before. Is it free completely, or are you limited to how many requests you can make?
I think you are limited with the Google API. If you overdo it, then you can get charged. But you do have plenty of requests available for that. The one for the open root services, that was free to sign up. And you can get I think I got a developer. I got advanced. I requested it so that I can get more features. But yeah, it's really good. I mean, if there's no room in here to put a speaker, but when it gives you the mapping in regards to for setting out your route for each turn, it tells you turn left onto Doncaster Road or that sort of thing. Yeah. So you could actually get it to speak, I guess. There's a normal sat nav, but
Nugget navigation.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if you can't fit a speaker inside, use an external speaker. So you've got Bluetooth on a Pi Zero 2W.
Yeah.
Put it into the car's navigation system, to speaker system, and away you go.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's cool.
But yeah, it's really good. Is that ORS? I've got it down as Open Route Services. It's definitely worth having a look at.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So, have you got any plans for any more fast food based hacks?
Probably not, because I don't want to eat so much fast food.
Okay,
you've
already got a raspberry and a Raspberry Pi, so there's fruit. So there's one of your 5 a day.
Yeah, I've got blackcurrant here. Well, apple and blackcurrant.
That's 2. There you go. Casey saying it's Nugget navigation.
Oliver likes his nuggets, my little lad.
All kids do. To be fair, I'm 44 and I still like nuggets.
I like them. Yeah.
So, what I find interesting about the project is it's wacky. So you're taking something that's already wacky. It's a Tetris playing. Let's get this in the right shot. That's the right button. There we go. Yeah. It's a Tetris playing nugget that was limited edition that makers are now harvesting for parts. I mean, taking it apart. I mean, Kev in the chat, he's done McDoom with it. And it's so easy now by putting in a Pi 02W to get Pi 3 level of hardware performance in a nugget, which I find amazing. Well, Kev's on one. Here we go. Just waits until we see his Greg Steak Bake keyboard. Do you know what? You can probably do that. An MPR121, a capacitive touch sensor, and a load of different Greg's pastries. Other bakeries are available.
Yes.
You can make an entire keyboard be flaky and destructive to your desk, but it'd be fun.
Yeah.
I might do that for a laugh. But yeah, it's sort of proven to be like, something fun to hack around with. So that's why I wanted to get you on the show to talk about it, because GPS is, we all think of GPS as difficult. It's really hard. You've got to plug in this board and do some magic incantations to make it happen. But it's not. It's really just spitting out serial, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how are you reading the serial in Python?
I'm using the library Pi NMEA2 library. And then you pass that to a parser that's built into it, and it separates it out, and it does make very well good sense on when you're wanting to use your values that it's giving you. There is a couple of them. There is loads of different types of messages that your satellite actually gives you. There's a website that you can go to. Let me see if I can find. I've got it as a link. GPS NMEA. So there's about 19 messages that you can get. So I could get it to tell me my speed, my bearing. It all depends on what satellite information you're receiving. I think I get about 5 or 6 different levels, but some of them gives multiple messages, so it gives you like extra information.
That's cool.
Yes, it's really good.
We've got a question from the audience. Now, apologies if I pronounce your name incorrectly. Taif Gundry, saying, which GPS module and breakout are you using? Do you know the part number for GPS?
I think it's a Neo 6M. I can see in front of it. Neo-6M GPS module. They all do pretty much the same, to be fair. I soldered all the wing pins onto it. You only really need to use the transmit from the Pi, from the GPS module. But I put through the TX and RX, and there's also another one where you can it sends you a pulse, because I was going to look at the code for the GPIO that I had that pulse wire sent to know that it's got the satellite signals, but using that Pi NMEA library, it tells you in there how many satellites that you're getting, so I've just used it as that value.
That's great. I mean, you're indoors now, and you're getting like 6 or 7 satellite connections. I've got one in my drawer that I've a USB one I got from Amazon years ago, and I'm lucky if I get 2 and I'm hanging it out the window.
Yeah, I'm very close to it. My window is open, to be fair, because I'm a bit warm in here. But yeah, I do get pretty good signal wise.
Brilliant. And just to say as well, you can get these modules on AliExpress for like less than about $5 to $10, something like that. These modules now, they're cheap.
Yeah.
So because there were loads of them produced for Arduino years ago, and they're still in circulation. So great piece of kit.
I think it's descripted when I've done a search on the type that I had, because when you get it in that kit that I got from ABX Labs, there's no documentation about it, so you have to look online. There's loads about. They're not expensive.
That's awesome. Do you reckon you could do this project with a Pico?
Do you know, I've got many Picos, and I haven't really done any projects with them yet, and I feel ashamed because I've got so many of them.
Don't worry.
I want to get using them. I really do. But when I do stuff, I tend to use zeros or a Raspberry Pi 3 or a 4, whatever.
Yeah. Are you going to upgrade to a 5 when you can get one?
Well, I've pre-ordered one.
That's
I've got the 8 gig. Yes. I'm not as lucky as you people, you Kev and that.
I don't have one either. I had to pre-order as well.
Shocking.
Yeah, I feel you.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting all of that. I've recently got a 7-inch screen. I got 2 of them actually. I were only expecting one, but a friend of mine gave me 2 of them.
Nice.
So my heating control system that I did on my I've got outside sensors around the house. I've got outside lighting that's controlled by a Raspberry Pi Model A Plus, I think it is now. I've switched it around.
Wow.
So if there's movement outside, I used to have Googles around the house, but I've got rid of them now. I've got Alexas. They're just as bad. Sorry if I've triggered one, by the way.
Very true.
Yeah. But yeah, if there was movement outside, it would say front garden movement. And on the touchscreen display that we've got in his living room, it'll look at the CCTV system and grab a snapshot of whatever's moving outside, just as a picture. So it displays it on the touchscreen for 2 minutes. Yeah. So you can see what's alerted or triggered the external movement sensors. So I've got front, side, and rear, and garage area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
And also covers me heating as well.
Something I've not done. I was talking to one of our staff members, Andrew, about home automation with Pi. Something I've never done. I've done Pi since it came out 2012.
Yeah.
Never done any home automation with it. Probably because in the UK, a lot of our home automation systems are 240 volts, and I don't really fancy tapping into that. I've been electrocuted a few times. Don't want to do it again.
I've done it many times. Keeps you alive.
Just about, yeah.
Well, then again, yeah. I'm used to working with high voltage.
It's fair enough. I'm not anything over 12 to 24 volts. I'm a bit skittish on. Yeah. So let's leave it at that. But I know in the US, I believe a lot of the control logic levels are 12 volts, so you can happily hack around quite easily.
Yeah.
So that's quite cool. Well, talking of hacking, Ash, we normally do this at the start of the month, but we have a bit of a delay this month. But you've got some Pi projects of the month to talk about, haven't you?
I do. For those of you who aren't familiar, at Tom's Hardware, all week long, we cover Raspberry Pi projects. Every day, you're bound to find something cool that someone's made with a Pi, whether it's a chicken nugget that can take you to McDonald's or it's one of these cool things I'm about to show you. So once a month, I'll take a list of the 10 best. And I don't like saying best because I think, honestly, if you're going to make something on the Raspberry Pi and share it on the internet, you're cool. Your project's cool in my book. But we picked 10 to feature again. And you can find our list of 10 Raspberry Pi projects for the month of October on tomshardware.com. But right now, I wanted to share 3 with you guys to get you excited. So the first one I wanted to share is this confetti robot. Or I guess they call it a confetti bot. And it's real simple how it works. It's a Pi. You hit a button. It triggers a servo, and it makes this little confetti popper pop. And I thought that was pretty fun because can you imagine if you had a whole bunch of them wired up to maybe go off at like different intervals, or maybe whenever somebody walks by, it would be a crazy party if you had enough of them set up, right?
That's it. Just put a sensor on that to trigger when someone walks into a room, and that's it. You've got them.
You could have it like play some music, and then like the disco ball comes out and the lights come on. It could be crazy.
Oh, there you go. We've just taken this project to 11 now. Sorted.
Exactly. And the next one I wanted to share with you guys is this Palm OS PDA, because I like it whenever people revitalize old hardware. And I remember when Palm PDAs were just the bee's knees. Everyone thought they were super cool. And if you had a PDA, I mean, you had to be super important to have all these, I guess, events to schedule in your pocket. And, you know, we didn't have smartphones, so having something dedicated that had different apps and stuff was really useful. And do you really need that these days? No. But can you do it? Yeah, on a Raspberry Pi. That's what they did. Credit where it's due. They've got this project they put together called Repalm. I think it's like I don't know if it's actually emulating Palm OS or if it's something just similar to it, but they call it Repalm, and it runs on Cortex M0 processors, and that made it suitable for the Raspberry Pi.
That is cool. I love the Palm OS era of computing. It was just so weird. All these different form factors, different OSs. It was great. I mean, my preference is the Scion series. 3A up to the 5MX were just brilliant for me. But Palm OS devices, when it came to getting a smartphone many years ago, before Android was the dominant one for myself, I went, shall I get a Palm Pre? Now, anyone who's old and grey will understand what a Palm Pre is, but all the new kids will be like, what's that? It was a smartphone that blended this Palm OS with a smartphone that had a keyboard. It was like a BlackBerry as well. It was, I would have loved it, but now it's just so old and decrepit, it won't work.
I miss full keyboard mobile devices. I still use it. I actually bought a flip phone after I've had a smartphone for 10 years, and I like having physical buttons, but there's something about having a full-size keyboard that's just, I don't know, I thought it was really convenient, and I kind of missed that experience, especially those phones where you could like flip it to the side, and then the keyboard would just slide out from the bottom of the phone. Oh, those were the best.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
And the third thing I wanted to share, since it's October, we've got Halloween creeping up on us. Oh, hey, that was an accidental pun. Halloween's creeping up on us. And I wanted to share this really cool Raspberry Pi Tombstone project. It uses an Adafruit Prop-Maker RP2040 board, which is just a board that lets you connect all kinds of stuff like sensors. And in this case, it's controlling a matrix panel. But you could use it to do all kinds of stuff. But yeah, this is a cool tombstone, and it's made out of styrofoam. And what I thought was interesting was it's useful to use. How do I explain this? I'm sorry. I swear I know how words work. This tombstone is made out of styrofoam, and I find that interesting because if you want to put electronics into something that didn't have electronics in it before, unlike this Nugget, it was already, it was meant to be a handheld. The styrofoam is an easy material to work with because you can carve out channels for wires and stuff. And I never really considered that. So if you see some cool props for cheap at the store, think, hey, is that easy to cut up and cram a pie into with some LEDs or whatever? Maybe it'll be this really cool, like automated robot looking articulated thing. And it's just easy to work with. So I thought that was kind of fun.
Definitely. Polystyrene, as we call it in the UK, styrofoam. You can use a hot wire to cut it, and it cuts beautifully when you use a hot wire. Clean lines, you don't get any of the little bits all over the carpet that you get annoyed with, like your parents did at Christmas when you opened the box. That was me. But it just cuts beautifully. It's just we made years ago some dragsters for some kids in a school in Preston, near where I live, and these dragsters are made out of polystyrene, and they had a big channel at the back, a plastic pipe, and an air ram was put up the back of it. And we fired compressed air to fire the dragsters. And it had microbits inside it that would send via radio the speed that it was traveling at. So we can measure acceleration, forces, speeds, that sort of thing. So the kids had a science lesson, but they also got to make dragsters. Awesome. Yes. That's awesome. We do that with Pico now.
That sounds very good.
That's cool.
Oh, that's too cool.
We've had another query from the audience. So tie us back again with, you could use Node-RED. I love Node-RED. An MQTT. Some son-off relays, and that keeps all the higher voltages isolated, which is good for me. Taz motor, I've got one of those kicking around somewhere on this desk that is just a pit of electronics. But they are very good. I've hacked one of those with a lamp before. And yes, you're right, to keep it nice and safe.
Yes.
Very cool. But speaking of things that you can buy, it may not have escaped your notice. May not, may have, we don't know. But right now it's Amazon Prime Day 2, the return. And there's loads of deals at the moment. Loads of deals. So we've got a couple of Pi deals to talk about. So, Ash, do you want to tell us about your deal first?
I do. It's a Raspberry Pi deal. Save your money. Okay, no, I'll actually tell you about it. I have a thing for Retro Flag. I was gonna reach behind me and grab my Retro Flag Game Boy, but all I have is the case. But it's a good company, right? They like to make hardware that looks like old school hardware that you cram a pie into and have a grand old time, and that's what this product is. And in this particular case, there's the tombstone again. I wanted to feature their Super Pie case because it looks just like a Super Nintendo, and it even has like a little cartridge, but it's not really a cartridge. And you put a pie in it. It's got working buttons. It's got the USB ports on the front. I like that it's not trying to look exactly like it, but it's just close enough, you know. And the buttons actually work, and where the ports would be that you would plug in for your controller, you know, they're just USB. I think they're cool products. They know what they are. They're not trying to pretend to be something that they're not, and it's on sale. I think it usually goes for, let me double check. Yeah, it usually goes for about $25. It's on sale right now for about $19. So it's 20% off the going rate, which is not a huge discount, but given what it usually goes for, that's not too bad. So if you wanted to get it and you've been putting it off, say $5. Go buy some chicken nuggets.
Yes.
That's it. $5 chicken nuggets. Done. Win. I was going to pop that in the chat so everyone can see where our deals are. I've got one as well that I want to talk about. Let's just go to...
Yeah, what'd you find?
Close up on me. So I found a couple of things, but they're really the same thing, but for different boards. Oh, so let's just switch to that section so you can see what I'm talking about. So I like doing electronics really basic, really cheap, and getting people interested in electronics. Be you a child, an adult, doesn't matter where you're at, what you want to do with electronics, just have a go, have a play. And I want to do it as cheaply as possible, but I also want to do it as easily as possible, because you can't just give someone a load of kit and go, there you go, make something cool. So what you need is a kit that actually has projects built inside it. So these two kits here, we've got the Sunfounder kit just at the top here for the Pico W, which is at $55. And we've got the $33 Pico kit. So these are basic electronics kits. There's no hats, there's no fats, there's no add-on boards. It's just simple LCD screens, ultrasonic sensors, LEDs, resistors, some SPI matrix screens, and some 7-segment displays. All the foundations of electronics in one kit that's nice and cheap. So this could be a nice present to give to, adults or kids for Christmas or the holidays, whatever you want to do, or it just becomes something to buy because you want to get started with electronics and you don't know where to start. So just like myself and Martin go to ABX Labs at electronics fairs and spend our pocket money there, you can go to Amazon right now and buy one of these kits and have a whale of a time, really. My recommendation would be, it's a bit more expensive, but the $55 Pico W kit, just because you get a Pico W in there and you get a ton of sensors as well. Ultrasonic sensor, I can look at the picture now, ultrasonic sensor, and then I2C LCD screen by the look of that. So you've got a really nice distance measuring system there. You've got a soil sensor, so you can measure the soil's conductivity. So if your plants need to be watered, just like Gary, the Gasteria plant that I've got on the window that I made a how-to out of, it can tell you on the screen, it can say the plant needs water. You've also got, as well, I can see on the screen, you get a LiPo battery in it, so you don't need to take any laptops apart like Martin did. You can be safe completely. But cheap kits, easy to use, good bit of fun, and you get projects in these kits to learn how to use them. So you're not just given a load of parts and say, right, fend for yourself. You can learn with these kits. I like them.
I would argue that kit would be useful even if the person you're buying it for is not entirely new to Raspberry Pi and stuff. Like if you have someone who's already a seasoned developer, just say, hey, this is to refill your drawers because I'm sure you've lost a few LEDs over time. Here's a few extra.
Yeah, we've all done that. That's why I used to buy bags of LEDs in 500 weight. So buy a bag of 500 LEDs, boom, there you go. And then when I was doing events with the kids, like the kids can take LEDs home with them, with their parents' permission, obviously.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think when I started with Raspberry Pi stuff, quite lateish, about 2015, 16 when I started with Pis.
Yeah.
And I think I got one of them Sunfounder kits. Not as good as that one, but I started with a Sunfounder kit. Probably got the box somewhere still, actually.
They are really good kits. Good. I've got 2 of those Sunfounder kits for myself, I gave one to my nephew, who's only 7 now, so I gave it to his dad, really, to make sure that he got it when he was old enough.
Yeah.
But his mum, his dad, and himself are all building little motors at the moment and having a play around with that kit. So, it's good to get the family involved.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid that's all we've got time for this week. We're slightly over time, which we normally do when I'm in charge. But hey, it's cool. I want to thank Martin for coming on the show and showing off his chicken nugget. That was fantastic, mate. I loved it.
Yeah,
You're welcome. Especially the
if only
little
it
bit of
could take us
extra
to
for the
McDonald
dregs.
Yep. Next thing to do is hack this to have a motor to drag us in a little red wagon to McDonald's. That'd be cool. We will be back next week at the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. British summertime, for another show. We're going to have a special guest next week. We've got Dave Jones coming on the show to talk about Ubuntu on Raspberry Pi 5. Yeah. We've all heard of Raspberry Pi 5. There you go. That's what one looks like when he holds it the right way up. So we're going to be talking about that next week and Ubuntu. Should be interesting. And Dave is also the person who co-created GPIO 0 and created the original Pi Camera Python library.
Yeah.
He's fantastically intelligent man. And he will talk about everything and everything at once. And he's brilliant. And I love him to bits. So Dave, we'll see you next week. And then the guest we've got the week after that, we've got James Adams coming on the show. Mr. Raspberry Pi 5 is going to come on. Yeah.
The CTO.
Oh, yeah, he's coming on to talk about this and the thing that's hidden by the heatsink, the RP1, which is doing the rounds at the moment, that new Southbridge with the Pi 5. We'll be talking about that. So we'll be back next week at the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. British summertime. We'll see you next week. See you later.
Thank you. See you later.